Today we're gonna make jalapeno cheddar sourdough bread. So we need about 100 grams of this active starter. It doubled in size, so we're gonna go ahead and use that. We're gonna need some fine sea salt right here. We're going to need roughly 375 grams of water, as well as 500 grams of bread flour. I use the Walmart brown. I feel like they all do the same thing, so why not just use the store brand? We also need these jalapeños, which we're going to clean really good, slice up and remove the seeds, and then we are going to slice up our cheddar cheese block, and both of it is going to be folded into the recipe before putting it in the refrigerator for the final ferment. I always use a digital scale just to make sure my measurements are accurate and complete. Besides the scale, you are going to need one of these little mixing things for sourdough, as well as a glass bowl. You're going to need one of these baskets to put the dough inside, to put it in the fridge for a few hours for the final fermentation. Last but not least, I just take a shower cap just to go ahead and cover the dough while it's rising, as well as while it's in the fridge. First, we're going to go ahead and measure out the 100 grams of active discard. Now that we have our 100 grams of starter, we're going to go ahead and tear that out, and we're going to go ahead and mix in our 375 grams of water. And we're just going to go ahead and give it a stir. Now that it's mixed together, it should look like a milky color. We're going to go ahead and add the 500 grams of bread flour. Now we're just going to go ahead and give it a mix until it's a shaggy dough. After you're done mixing together the flour and the starter and water, you're just going to go ahead and cover it. I leave it for about 30 minutes and then I start my stretch and folds. See that? While that dough is setting, I'm going to go ahead and chop up about 6 jalapeno peppers in my block. Remember to take out the seeds. Now that the chopping's done, we're going to go ahead and place this in the refrigerator. This next part, we're going to go ahead and add in our sea salt. I don't really measure this, but I just play it by ear. Wet my hands a little bit, and then I go ahead and do my stretch and fold. So I start from under here and just mix it around. It should look something like that, which is a little bit smoother than the shaggy dough. And I'm going to come back in 30 minutes to do another set of stretch and folds. Back with the second stretch and fold. This time we're going to just go ahead and scoop it up. And then let it fold under and over. And you do it about 4 times. Go ahead and cover it and let it sit for another 30 minutes. All right, so I forgot to record the third stretch and fold. Here is the fourth. I'm gonna cover it and then allow it to sit another 30 minutes, and then we'll shape it and add filling. Okay, so we let it sit for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm just gonna mix up the jalapeno and cheddar cheese in one bowl. Next, I'm gonna coat the countertop with some more bread flour just so it doesn't stick. And I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit so we can make a perfect square. And I'm just gonna layer the toppings. Once this way, fold over, add more topping. After that, I'm just gonna roll it over like a burrito. and just close up the bottom. Then I'm going to take my Banneton basket, sprinkle flour, plop it in. For safe measure, I'm going to add a little more flour on the top. Probably not necessary, but I do it. Then I'm going to place it in the fridge overnight, and then in the morning I will go ahead and bake it. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I let my Dutch oven warm up with the actual oven at 500 degrees for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Now we're going to move on to the second step, which is basically just putting it in the Dutch oven and letting it bake. For this part, you are going to need a Dutch oven as well as one of this or some parchment paper. For this part, I'm just going to remove this from the Banneton basket. I noticed that if you use one of these little mat things, it kind of sticks, so I just like to flour the bottom of this. So then it looks like this. And then you're just going to take your little razor blade and you're just going to make cuts in it. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the Dutch oven. I'm going to go ahead and just put 4 ice cubes at the bottom. Put the lid on top. We are going to lower the oven temperature to about 450 degrees. We're going to cook it for 25 minutes, and then we're going to remove the lid and bake it for another 20 minutes after lowering the oven temperature to about 425 degrees. This is what it's looking like right out of the oven. We're going to go ahead and put it on a cooling rack for about 1 hour before we cut it. Okay, so we're back with the final result. This is the sourdough bread. Make sure you get a serrated knife to cut the bread. It just makes it a lot easier. That turned out. And it looks like this. It kind of looks like my toppings fell to the middle, but that's okay. I'm still going to go ahead and eat this. This tastes really good with some cream cheese. So if you decide to try this recipe, let me know. And until next time, bye guys.